Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again.
It's time for the J. Craig 5, maybe 10-minute movie review. Hey everybody, welcome back to Movies Over Coffee. I'm Jay of the J. Craig Podcast. If you haven't done so already, click the subscribe button, like and follow us, and check out all our movie reviews as well as our podcast. So, it's the end of summer, and in any given summer, you should expect to see a shark movie at some point. I mean, seriously, look back on history, you'll see just about every year after year after year, you see a shark movie. Well, 2018 is no different, because last night, or a couple nights ago, I should say, I saw the MEG. Now, this is what the summer's made for. It's a big giant shark movie. It's an action hero movie. It's surprisingly badass. Now, it's not a good movie, okay? It's not a good movie, but it is a lot of fun, and that's exactly what the summers are made for. So I just did a podcast about this, about summer movies and the birth and death of summer movie, what's happened to them. And, and one thing I noticed is that every year you find a shark movie. So here you go. We got our shark movie for the year. So this movie is directed by John Turteltaub. It stars Jason Statham, Rainn Wilson, Ruby Rose, Travis from Fear the Walking Dead, and way too many other characters for its own good. The MEG's about a research team that goes far, far further than they should, and they uncover the prehistoric megalodon, which just dwarfs the Jaws. And not only do they find the megalodon, but they help lead it back to the surface. And now our action hero, Jason Statham, has to fight a big giant shark. Yeah, I mean, that's why you're going to see this movie, right? Jason Statham versus shark. That's your log line. All you need. That's it to get you in the theater. That's all. So I mentioned there's too many characters in this movie, and there are far too many characters. In fact, this is taken from a book, The Meg. So I'm assuming that these characters are fleshed out more, and they have more purpose in the book, because most of these characters in this movie serve no purpose. In fact, right from the go, I was like, wow, they are really showing you a lot of characters in this movie. I wonder how many of them are going to die, and then they keep adding more characters. It was just bizarre. But they throw every single character cliche at you. You have the doctor who's reluctant to believe the hero because of a past situation. You have the smarmy investor. You have the comic relief black guy. The strong-willed, brave Asian lady. The fat, funny white guy. The reluctant, the tortured hero who has to redeem himself from a past mistake. It's got it all, and unfortunately, too much. It's bloated. It's got too much chum, if you will, and they needed to hone that in. Anytime you have a book, you have way too much. You have more time to get through this stuff. In the movie, they needed to condense that and make one character out of three. And I think that would have made a lot of difference here. Instead, like Ruby Rose serves no purpose. She's some kind of expert in something, but she has no purpose there. She kind of shows up in the scene. It's like, oh, she's in the movie. She's in the background over here looking. Like, why did they show her like that? That's weird. Strange way to introduce a character, just sitting around in the background. Besides the characters, the story. The screenplay needs a lot of work. There's a lot of problems with it. In fact, the more and more I think about it, I don't know what they were doing with this. So they really open up some doors, but then they don't really approach it. They don't really close it off. For instance, Jason Statham's character starts off the movie with a situation which leaves him tortured. And if the rest of his life is impacted from this moment in the beginning of the movie. The rest of his life is impacted. So throughout the rest of this movie, they give it about 10 seconds worth of resolution. So the thing that affected him the rest of his life gets about 10 seconds of closure. That's it. And that's enough. That's all. Let's get back to the shark. This movie's more interested in getting to the final act than how they're going to get there. So there's a lot of times where they just keep doing things and everything just keeps working out. My buddy Paul said there isn't enough negatives to go along with the positives in this movie. And what he's meaning is the negative and positive correlation between scenes, the ups and the downs, the ebbs and flows. And he said, much like Pacific Rim Uprising, that everything was just too easy. Everything they tried worked. And he's absolutely right. Every time they tried something, it worked. Now we're on to the next one. Nothing, except, obviously you have a big giant shark and you have him eating people. That's a big negative. Okay, I get that. But they just keep going, and they just keep doing things, and it keeps working out. So the action is really good, but it's unearned. there's a montage sequence towards the end where I was like, where in the hell did this come from? All these, there's working together, building stuff, and you're like, where did this come from? And it just, I think they were trying to make it hysterical in some ways. They know they're making a fun, stupid popcorn movie. So let's just, no holds barred. Let's just throw it out there. Here comes your montage. It's gonna be a montage. But again, this is a Jason Statham giant shark movie. So just, I guess, get over it. It is what it is, right? I'm nitpicking here because I want better, but it was fun. It was a blast, and I think you'll like it because that's what you're going for. It's got the great special effects. It's got a big giant shark, which looks pretty cool. He's different. He's more prehistoric, so he has a cool look to him. And it's pretty creepy. There's some creepy sequences, which I was like, ooh, that's a stuff of nightmares, and it's not scary, but it's kind of creepy. And there's a sequence at the end that I literally almost jumped out of my seat cheering for because it's what you wanted to see. Jason Statham versus a big giant shark. I mean, and that's the genius of this movie. And for that moment, I was just on a high horse at the end of the movie. I was like, oh, I don't care what happened at the beginning. That ending was great just for that sequence right there. Just for that moment, it made it all worthwhile. So if you like shark movies, go see it. There's a great Jaws reference. Fantastic. And I wish they would have kind of cut it a little shorter, but there's a great Jaws reference towards the end. You should pick it up. I'm not going to ruin it for you. It's fantastic. But, hey, man, Jason Statham versus a big giant shark. What do you want? Right? What do you want? Hey, go check out my last podcast. I did a summer podcast about the birth and death of summer movies and why they're around and what happened to them and the evolution of where they're going and all that kind of stuff. So it's a pretty cool conversation I had with myself, anyways, about summer movies. So check that out. And go see the MEG. It's a lot of fun. I think you're really going to enjoy it. Don't think too hard on it. It's a movie about a big giant shark, and the story doesn't make a lot of sense. The characters are way too bloated, and hey man, it is what it is. They also tried to go through this idea of man versus nature and what we do to nature, and we find things and then we kill it. There's an argument about going down there and finding this stuff, but then what are we gonna do? We can't just leave it alone. We have to keep exploring. We have to keep making money off of this because that's what we do. Someone else is going to do it if we don't do it. So there's some cool things that they're talking about in this movie, but again, they're just talking about them. They don't really serve a purpose for the rest of the movie. They're just talking about them. But hey, big giant shark, Jason Statham. I guess you get what you get. Okay. So anyways, folks, hit the subscribe button over here. Boop, and watch our other videos, especially the last podcast, number 68, the birth and the death of summer movies. Are summer movies dead? Well, I don't think so, but they definitely are different nowadays. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.